Hey everyone, you're welcome back to the channel. I am Selassie Travis. So in today's video, we're going to be making this top. So this is a crop top. It is loose fitted and it has a bare sleeve. The beautiful thing about this is that we're going to be drafting the top directly on the fabric from scratch, as well as the bare sleeve. Okay, so by the way, you can use your dartless bodice to create the top, but this top is going to have a bust dart. You know those outfits that are loose fitted, but they tend to have a dart on the side? So this top is going to be created like that. Okay, so if this is something you'd like to see, keep on watching. And before we get into this video, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, like this video, and leave a comment for me before you leave. Okay, all right guys, let's get started. From the top line, I'm going to mark all my vertical measurements. So my armhole depth is 9 inches. So I'm going to leave the formula on how I got to 9 inches, okay? Next, I'm going to mark the distance from the highest point of my shoulder to my bust point. This is 10.5 inches. And then I'm going to mark the full length of my top. I'm using my front waist length minus 1 inch. That is 18 minus 1, that gives me 17. And then I'll go ahead and square out all my construction lines. Now on the top line, I'm going to mark my neck width of 3 inches, and the neck depth for the front is going to be 5.5 inches. I'll go in with my French curve to draw the neckline for the front. On the top line from center front, I'm going to mark my across shoulder, which is 7.5 inches, and repeat on the bust line and then connect both points together. For the shoulder slope, I'm going to come down along this vertical line 1.5 inches and then connect that point to the neck point to form the shoulder seam. Next, I'm going to divide what is left of the armhole line, mark the midpoint, and come in 3/4 inch. On the bust line, I'm going to mark my bust divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches for ease, and then another 1/2 inch for seam allowance. I'm going to take what I have on the bust line and place it on the waistline. I'm going to connect both points together to form the side line. Next, you want to come in from the side line 1 inch, so you can come as much as 1.5 inches, connect both points to form the side seam of the front. And now I'll go in with my French curve to draw the front armhole. So guys, the front of my bodice is going to have a bust dart. So for this reason, I'm going to keep the front pattern aside and work on the back. Now to draft the back, I'm going to measure from the top line my back waist length. So this is my actual back waist length, which measures 16 inches. So this is the waistline for the back, okay? Now I'm going to mark my armhole depth of 9 inches. On the top line, I'm going to mark my across shoulder, which is 15 inches divided by 2, and then repeat on the bust line. Connect both points together to form the armhole line. Next, I'm going to mark my neck width of 3 inches, and the neckline depth for the back is 1 inch. I'll go in with my French curve to form the back neckline. Now for the shoulder slope, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches, same as the front. Now I'm going to mark on the bust line and on the waistline my bust divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches for ease and 1/2 inch for seam allowance. Next, you want to come in like we did on the front 1 inch and connect to form the side seam for the back. To draw the back armhole, divide what is left of the armhole line into 2. Come in from that midpoint 1/4 inch to 1 centimeters. Okay, so I'll be coming in with 1/4 inch, and then I'll go in with my French curve to draw the back armhole. Next, you want to take the measurement of what you have on the back armhole, and my back armhole, including the seam allowance, measures 10 3/8 inches. Okay, Next, I'll go in and take the measurement of the back side seam, which measures 7 inches. So guys, remember my back waist length measures 16 inches while my front measures 17 inches, okay? Now I'm going to take my front armhole measurement and compare it to what I have on the back armhole measurement. So my front armhole measures 10 3/4 inches. I need my front armhole to be the same as my back armhole. For this, I'm going to make an adjustment. To do this, I'm going to go upward from the bust line 1/2 inch, okay? And then square across to the center front. So this is my new bust line for the front of the blouse. Now I'll go ahead and redraw the front armhole the same way I did initially, okay? And then I'll go back in and take the measurement of what I have, and this measures 10 3/8 of an inch, which is the same as the back armhole. Next, you want to take the measurement of the front side seam. So my front side seam measures 8.5 inches. So that means my bust dart is going to be front side seam minus back side seam. This gives 1.5 inches. Now to draft the bust dart, you want to measure in on the bust level line from center front, your nip to nip measurement divided by 2 plus 1 inch. So this for me is 4 3/4. You want to come down from the bust level line on the side seam and mark the value of your bust dart, and then connect this point to the bust point like so. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep this aside again and complete the back of the blouse. So now I've gone ahead to add in my seam allowance all around the neckline, the shoulder seam, the armhole. I already added on the side seam when drafting it, and then I added 1 inch M allowance. So now I'll go ahead and trim off the excess at the bottom and then fold in the 1 inch M allowance. And then I'll go ahead and cut out the blouse. So guys, it is important you add in all your seam allowance because you can't rectify it if you don't. So make sure you add in all your seam allowance. Now I'm going to bring in the front of the bodice and place my back on it. So I'm doing this because I want the front and the back neckline and the shoulder seam to align properly, okay? So I'm going to cut them at the same time to make sure of this. Okay, so right now I'm going to take the back out of the way. And now I'll go ahead and cut out the blouse. I'll go in and add in my M allowance of 1 inch and then fold this in. So for now, I'm just going to pin this in place because I don't want it to obstruct me. Now you want to close the bust dart like so and redraw the side seam. This step is very, very important, guys. Don't miss this step, okay? Close the bust dart and redraw the side seam. So I'm going to pin this in place for now. Now I'm going to bring in my back. I just want to make sure the back and the front side seam aligns after closing the front bust dart, okay? Once I'm sure of that, I'm going to go ahead and trim the pattern. Next, you want to place notches right on the middle of the dart and on both sides of the bust dart leg, okay? So now I'll go ahead and trim the front neckline. For the sewing instruction, the first thing you want to do is to sew your bust dart, which I've done, and then you want to go ahead and finish the neckline of the top. Now you want to bring in the back with right side facing right side. You want to join it to the front on the shoulder seam, okay? So I'm going to join with 1/2 inch, join the side seam with 1/2 inch, and then fold in the M allowance, okay? By the way, I decided to alter the neckline for the front of the top. So I went down from my previous neckline with 3 inches, and then on the center front, I came in with about 1 inch. So this is my new front neckline. Okay guys, I've gone ahead to finish the neckline. For the back, I just finished it with my overlocker and I folded it once with 1/4 inch. And then I use facing for just the front neckline, okay? Now that I'm done with the blouse, I'll go ahead and draft the sleeve for the blouse. To get the bicep line, mark down from the top line your cap height. So I'm using 5 inches. So the average cap height is between 5 inches to 6 inches, okay? Now you want to take the measurement of your armhole. Do note that my front and my back armhole are equal. So I have 9.5 inches, but then I'm going to subtract either 1/4 inch or 1 centimeter, that is 3/8 inch. In this case, I decided to subtract 3/8 inch. So this is because I don't want any ease around the cap of the sleeve, okay? Now using this measurement, I'm going to draw a diagonal line from the top line to intersect with the bicep line, like so. So I'm going to start with drafting the back of the sleeve. Now I'm going to divide this diagonal line into 3 equal parts. From this point, I'm going to go upward with 3/4 inch. Next, I'm going to divide this remaining portion into 2 equal parts. And then I'm going to come down with 1/4 inch. Now using my French curve, I'm going to draw a curved line passing through all these points. Next, for the front, divide the diagonal line into 4 equal parts. From this point, come down 5/8 inch and go upward from this point 5/8 inch. Now I'm going to go in with my French curve to connect all these points together. Now take the measurement of what you have on the back sleeve edge. So mine is 9.5 inches. And then I'm going to take the measurement of the front sleeve edge. So mine is 9.5 inches plus 1/16 of an inch. So that is very minimum. I don't need to do any adjustment. Next, you need to take what you have on the bicep line and then place that on the hem of the sleeve like so. Now connect both points together to form the inseam of the sleeve. Now you want to add in your seam allowance, so I'm adding 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the sleeve. Now I'm going to place my fabric on fold and also indicate what I have on the bicep line, which is 7.5 inches plus 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now go ahead and trace out the sleeve pattern onto my fabric. From the top, I am going to mark down my sleeve length. My actual sleeve length is 24 inches, but I'm going to make the length 25 inches and then add in 1 inch seam allowance. So out of that 1 inch seam allowance, 1/2 inch will be to attach the sleeve to the top, while the other 1/2 inch will be to finish the hem of the top. So now go ahead and draw out your hem line like so. Now to determine the wideness of the hem, you want to take what you have on your biceps line. So mine is 7.5 inches. And then I'm going to double this measurement, which gives 15 inches. Now I'll go ahead and add in 1/2 inch seam allowance and then add another 1/2 inch. So the reason I'm adding this 1/2 inch is because after folding in the hem, I still want to have 15 inches around the width of the hem, okay? So now I'm going to place this 16 inches on the hem line. Now I'm going to connect this point to the armhole point with a straight line like so. To get the asymmetric hem, go upward from this point 1 inch. You can go as much as 1.5 to 2 inches and then go inward 2 inches. Now I'm going to draw a curved line from this point, blending into the center front. So I'm going to go in with my pen curve to draw the curve line, and then I'm going to use freehand from this point, blending into the center front like so. Next, I'll go ahead and cut out the sleeve. To finish up the sleeve, I'm going to go in with my pen curve. So this is going to help to remove excess fabric around the inseam of the sleeve, okay? So I'll go in with my pen curve and draw a line from the armhole points blending into the hem. Now I'm going to go back in with my French curve just to deepen the curve around this area, and then go back in with my pen curve and continue this line to the hem like so. Now I'll go ahead and cut out the sleeve. Now you want to place a notch right in the middle of the sleeve head. Next, you want to take both pieces of the sleeve with right side facing right side. You want to place them together and then bring in your pattern and trace out the front sleeve head onto your fabric like so. Okay, now I'll go ahead and trim off this portion. You want to make sure that you have both pieces right side facing right side, okay? It's very important you do this. Now, after trimming this part off, you want to indicate what part is the front and what part is the back. Note that the front sleeve head is deeper than that of the back sleeve head, okay? To sew the sleeve, you want to first join both sides of the sleeve with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Finish the raw edge of that inseam, and then finish the raw edge of your hem and fold it in with 1/2 inch. If you don't have an overlocker, you can do a double fold of 1/4 inch around the hem. And once that is done, you can then move on to the last stage, which is attaching the sleeve to your top. Well guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, remember to leave a comment, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet subscribed. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on my next one. Till then, have a beautiful day. Afro-lover, come give me rhythm, make a love ya, make a love ya. Be my